Hey there, you bots and power prompters. Welcome to episode 4 of Power Prompting over here at AI Academy. My name is Ian Warren, and this is Brian Knight. Brian, how you doing today?
Good. Well, we chose 4 days because for 2 reasons. Well, main reason is we only had 4 polo shirts. So.
Exactly. Yep, I'm out of them after this.
Yep, exactly. Yep. At least we may notice I wore a T-shirt yesterday. So, So again, what are we covering today?
So today we're going to be learning mostly about making AI our thought partner. Now, what does that mean? Whenever you're working with AI, whenever you're asking it to do something, a lot of times off that first prompt, it will try to immediately give you the solution and give you that output that is supposed to be final. But a lot of time, it typically ends up needing more refinement and a lot of other work to make it much more specific to what you're looking for.
This is where people are getting disillusioned with AI sometimes also, right? They'll do that prompt, that first prompt, and they're like, I could have got this on the web, potentially, right?
Exactly.
I can see this, what it built looks like AI. It is a canned response that is giving a little bit of value, but it's not going to make me more productive in many cases. So what today's goal is really, how are we going to make AI more productive to where it becomes that thought partner, where it becomes a sidekick. You're Robin to Batman. Now, in our case, we're seeing a lot of companies that early on in AI adoption, they're like all in on it, right? And we saw numerous companies like Square, a number of other companies were out there, including some of our ones we have on the screen here today. We're laying off a lot of employees saying, hey, we see AI giving us enough productivity to where we can replace these employees. Since then, a lot of employers have come back on that and said, hey, we were wrong. We're having to rehire now because of that. So when you think about AI is not going to replace a person typically. What AI is going to do is AI is going to enable another person to replace you because they're using AI, right? They're getting 30, 50% gain in performance. So that's what we're finding out is really the performance gain and productivity from companies that are doing AI as a sidekick are getting about 30 to 40% gain in performance with AI, which is still great, but it's not going to be, it's not going to replace people in many cases. It's going to give them a superpower. Ultimately.
Makes them better.
Now, a thought partner in this case, like I and my brother run Pragmatic Works with some partners. We don't have an official board of directors. So having a thought partner of AI enables us to kind of simulate a board of directors, simulate a customer, simulate these things to kind of challenge us, but we have to make sure we ask things in a certain way. And that's what Ian is going to start with today. Ian, you run the kind of the production team here at Pragmatic Works with some editors that were kind of scattered around. How do you come up with some of the ideas with AI? Let's start with the bad prompt first.
So if I'm looking for a bad prompt, I suppose, you could really come in here and I would just say something along the lines of, help me come up with a few video ideas, mostly focused on Excel tips.
Okay.
And we'll just go ahead and throw that in and see what it comes up with.
And this would have been the prompt you would have done probably a little while ago. Now I was seeing it basically went back pretty fast. It was like, instantaneous. And they're not bad ideas. They might spark some ideas and get you like in a brainstorming mode right now, right?
Yeah.
But this isn't very deep though, right? It's not a whole lot of research done and all that. First of all, how can we, I noticed it came back super fast. So it's not doing any type of research there. There's that mode of the new ChatGPT where you don't really pick what model you want anymore, right? It's using the cheapest model it can come up with.
Yep.
So can we take a baby step there? How would we get ChatGPT to choose the deeper model out there?
So say we're doing the same prompt here. I'll just go ahead and take the one that we used before. I would come in here and I'd ask the same question, but I'd add right at the end, think deeply about this.
Now watch the subtle caption that shows up here. So hopefully, we've tried a number of things. There it is. What does it say? Can't quite, my glasses are off.
It says thinking.
Thinking, okay, gotcha. So it did take maybe 10 times longer to do this, but look at the quality of the response that comes back from this. So it's a to me it's much better.
Big time.
Even my glasses off, I can see the quantity of content it's producing is much better.
It's giving me hooks and what to show and other stuff. Like it's getting a lot more in depth, and I think the ideas are better too, and ultimately are going to connect with that audience a little bit.
So why is that trigger word so much more helpful? Think deeply about this.
Because ultimately, the only thing that you're really picking out whenever you're working with ChatGPT and looking at where the models used to be is you're either doing ChatGPT or ChatGPT thinking or O5 thinking. And that is really the only thing that you have to choose. And if you're on the free model, you don't get that option really to like just pick that in the list. So asking it to think deeply usually makes it go and actually give it some time to think about.
Yeah. So it's basically a router. That's when it intercepts the chat, a router is in place that says, I want to direct you to the cheapest model I can find. And that keyword, think deeply about this, triggers it to go down the path of the more thoughtful model. Now, what else can we do here? So far we've got it thinking deeply. What else can we do as a best practice here as a thought lead, to make this a thought leader?
So I suppose the next best thing would be to get a little more complex with the prompt. I have a small super prompt here that I made earlier. Let me get it up. I think I have it right here.
Okay.
Oh no. One moment, you guys.
So this is, of course, the super prompt you mentioned here as he's copying this over. The super prompt does help you. We covered that in our last video. You can find that in our last video. And actually in the description of this video we're on right now, you'll see an article that you can go to on LinkedIn that walks you step by step so you can get your hands dirty on this as well.
So I have it pulled up here now. I want to brainstorm and refine YouTube video ideas for my channel. And then I've gotten a lot more specific with my instructions. Be my YouTube thought partner. Be curious, candid, and data-minded. And then I have the process broken down for it. So I want you to ask me one question at a time to learn about my audience goals, constraints, and preferences. Do not propose ideas until you have enough info. So I'm getting it to not immediately come at me with just everything all at once. I want it to ask questions. I want it to think about these things even deeper. It's going beyond just the thinking model. It's thinking with me and thinking alongside me.
Gotcha, cool.
So I'm going to send this and we'll see how it goes. So understood, Ian, I'll act as your YouTube thought partner. So immediately it's already asking me the question. Who is your target audience really? Not just demographics, but
so before it's just a generic one, right?
Exactly.
Now I want to target analyst, for example. Let's try it.
Awesome, all right. So we'll say we are targeting analysts. What do they care about? What frustrates them? What do they want to learn when they watch your videos? So they're probably coming to the most part just to learn more about Excel.
Right. And we could also say, well, what do you think? And then let it, if we don't know the answer sometimes, that's a nature of thought partner, right? We could tell it ultimately, I don't know the answer to this question. Tell me what you think and I'll approve that answer.
Exactly. And so I'm telling it I have analysts that mostly want no nonsense, just straight up good, helpful tutorials.
Okay.
No fluff. All right, and so now are they mostly beginners trying to learn tools like Excel or Power BI, experienced users looking to optimize and automate? So again, it's letting me kind of pick out and get specific. So I'll say we're probably looking for a wide spectrum here. I mean, we are teaching to all sorts of people depending on whether they already know stuff or not. So let's do a wide spectrum for our audience. Skill level varies a good bit. All right, so we have everyone from newbies to veterans. Do your best performing videos tend to be simple how-to tutorials or deeper problem-solving breakdowns? And I would say we probably see the how-tos do best.
Yeah. But this is the nature of the thought partner, right? It's as you kind of run that prompt, it is now challenging you, right? It's making it where a junior employee acts like a mid-level employee, a mid-level person acts like a senior employee, and a senior person acts as if they have a whole bunch of extra arms that they didn't have before and can do stuff. And eventually, he can also interrupt the cycle here and say, just build the list.
All right, yeah, let's go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
Just build the list with the information you have.
Sometimes it keeps on going. On the 8th question, you'd be a little tired of it.
Yeah.
Tell it.
But here we go. Power BI in 10 minutes. Clean up your messy data fast. I mean, that's one that we all know would be good. 5 Power BI tricks pros don't tell you. The most underrated Power BI feature you're not using. Yeah, and it's giving me hooks and outlines and everything. So there's a lot to build off of from there that I can bring to our trainers, and they can make great videos for us.
Awesome. Well, let's try one myself here also.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm going to play the role of a recruiter this time. I'm going to zoom in a little closer here. I'm going to be using Copilot this case. So we are kind of trying to be agnostic here from the prompting tool for this series at least. And so in this case, I'm using Copilot, which is Microsoft's tool for chatting. And I'll say, I want to build a new job description for a Power Apps developer for LinkedIn and Indeed. So I'm going to post it at. So I try to be specific about where I'm posting it at. I'll hit go. Now, hopefully here it gave me done. So you can see it didn't really think much about it.
Instant immediately.
We can see, okay, it pulled some information from our history, but it's a little bit unwieldy as far as it knows nothing about this position. And it's saying it reports to the CIO, CTO, whatever. There is no CTO here. So it's unwieldy about how it went about this.
And this is for a job description. That's a lot of bullet points.
It's a lot of bullet points. But what it's doing there, basically, it's derivative, right? It's going out there and finding other job descriptions that are like this, and it's just taking other companies' information and making it my own here.
Excellent.
So, which is nice. It may save me a lot of work. I mean, it definitely saved me probably 30 minutes having to go and find all this information. But let's find a different way of doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and put a new prompt in here. I'll do a new conversation to start with here. All right, here we go. And I'll zoom in so you guys can see this a little better here also. All right, so I'm going to build the same exact top part, but the key in this case is the bottom part. Now, Ian showed us a few things already. I'm going to build on what he did. Here, I'll go ahead and add my same thing that Ian had here. Think deeply about this. There we go. And so you'll see that piece in here as well. You'll also see the iterate and keep. Okay, so here, ask as many questions, one question at a time till you get the answer. That's the similar thing to what Ian did. But now we're also giving it a few other things. One of my pet peeves in GPT and in Copilot is these M dashes. You can look at something that was written by AI, and in just a few seconds you can say that was AI because there's stupid double dashes that are called M dashes. I didn't know this, but it's called an M dash because it's the same width of an M. My marketing manager taught me that today. So I'm going to tell it to remove those because it loves to put those M dashes in there. The other thing we'll notice is we're going to tell it to build a rubric, to grade, and that's a teaching term on how you grade things. So we're going to tell it what is a perfect rubric for what is a successful LinkedIn post or Indeed post or a job post that will attract candidates. So build that rubric, and then right below it, iterate through this rubric until you get a 10 out of 10. So in other words, it's going to hide that iterative back and forth. I'm telling it basically to go ahead and just hide the fact that you're doing this and iterating over and over again, and instead, grade it. If you didn't get a 10 out of 10, try again. If you didn't get a 10 out of 10, keep on iterating and questioning yourself until you finally get that 10 out of 10.
And that part alone seems to really kind of emulate the same thing I'm doing with the think deeper about this I use in the other prompts. But Brian's really forming exactly how he wants it to think and really making it think about those goals that you're wanting it to get.
Yeah, and that's the secret here, right? Ask it, have it ask questions to you. That's the first thing. Think deeply about it. But to me, the grading rubric, I put that on any prompt that's more important, that deserves a little bit extra thought. Whether it be something like this, let me go ahead and hit the enter key on this. There we go, and send that bad boy off. So, and there is a super prompt you can download if you are a recruiter on our blog. But here we go. We're starting to see the rubric start to form now about why it thinks why this is. Notice that it kind of types information out. So ChatGPT, all these LLMs are basically predicting the next word ahead of time. So I wrote, happy. Oh, it must be birthday. So it's kind of predicting word by word. By doing a rubric like this, it's going to have it cycle back and look at the content it wrote word by word, and then say at a holistic level, this is a crappy post, or this is a great post. So there's my rubric. Let's begin by asking some questions. Let me zoom in here, and we'll just do a few of these. All right, so let's see. What's the most important business outcome of this developer? All right, building solutions for nonprofits. And I am spelling terrible here, which is another thing that GPT does not like here. All right, there we go. All right, so building solution for nonprofit. Is this a full-time position? Full-time. Okay. Each time I've run this, it gives me different kind of rubrics back, because that's the nature of this. All right, now it says, okay, full-time. You see it's kind of building out the top part here as we go. This is going to be, let's say, on-site. And then now it's going to ask me, well, where on-site? So it's basically built a program here, right? It knows that if you say this, then I'm going to ask this next. All right, where's the location? All right, we are in Green Cove Springs, where our studios are at. There we go, which is outside Jacksonville, in case you're curious. All right, there we go. All right, now it's starting to build again. And now it's going to be, okay, what are the top responsibilities? I'll just say, interviewing customers, building apps, And Dynamics, I'm just making up stuff here. Dynamics 365. Lucky nobody's watching me type all these misspelled words here. All right, we should be about ready here. Next question. And again, I can just tell it to go ahead also. You'll notice when it gives me options like this, like what technical skills are most required here, it does, one of the things that Copilot does is it gives me, like right below it, extra like kind of prompts there as well that I can kind of send into it. So I'll just say most important is Dataverse. Okay, that should be, I think it's almost done now. Maybe it has one more. Last time I had one more at least. We'll see. All right, there it goes. All right, so not quite there. Hopefully last question. All right, let's see. So where is the on-site role? I already answered that one, but let's go ahead and say, all right, just go ahead and build. I think it has like two more questions here. Go ahead and build and make it playful. We'll go with that. So we saw the original post. Now we'll see a much more, see it's making it a little more playful right now. And one of the questions would have been like, what tone of voice do you want to use here as well? And we can see, okay, there it goes. What you'll be doing. That's important. So like the headers here, they choose a lot more, right? So it's what you'll do, what you bring. So X amount of experience. One of the questions would ask me is this is for a mid-level or senior level kind of prompt here. There we go. So we have like perks and benefits, how to apply, and all that. Now notice also, I'm in Copilot. I'm in web mode right now. Now because I'm in web mode, it's not pulling any information from my company. If I had asked the same question, if I had gone over here, for example, and just run my super prompt here. All right, that should work. All right, this is the super prompt. I'll go into web. Again, we covered super prompt yesterday for more information on that. I'm going to do this in work mode now. Now, work mode, what's different about this in Copilot versus GPT and Gemini and all those, is now it's bringing in all my email history, my past Word docs I may have written, stuff it knows about our company, it's going to bring in now also.
Now, Brian, is this a free feature that comes with Copilot?
This is a pay feature.
Okay,
so Copilot is free, Copilot Chat is free, but when I want to bring in the work mode, I bring in other stuff like integrate this into to my emails, to Word and all that, now I am paying some money for that.
Okay,
so it's kind of more of a pro feature in this case. So now I can go through and just say generate a post based on what you already know, and this is the work mode now. I didn't really answer any of the questions in this case. But you'll see, here's my 10 out of 10. Okay, there we go. About Pragmatic Works. Now that about Pragmatic Works is getting from my work mode now. About the role, so it's looking at past roles we may have hired for, and it knows that. The key responsibilities, it knows our company voice here at Navy. Why join Pragmatic Works? See how it did on that. Mentorship, certifications, yeah, it knows about all that stuff. And then here's how it's grading that. Here's my rubric right now. So it's kind of looking at each of those sections and said the only thing it really flawed on is the compensation transparency and not putting a salary in it. But you can see here, clearly if I were to put this one more thing in here, then it would be a 10 out of 10. So pretty awesome. So again, the big key elements here, I think, are have it interview you one question at a time, the rubric, and have it grade against itself, and that immediately gets better results. And there was that, lots of other things you can kind of tweak in there also.
The rubric goes hand in hand with just making it think very deeply, though.
Right. And then, of course, think deeply about this also. I've tried lots of keywords. Think deeply about this seems to do it almost every time.
It's very reliable.
The other ones, like put extra thought into this, for some reason, just like other ways of saying it, don't seem to do it.
They're too friendly.
And you may not want to do it for everything, but just do it occasionally when the things you really want that thought partner. Let's do one last fun one now. Ian, I understand you've got a little hobby, not a little hobby, a big hobby you do, Dungeons and Dragons, right? And
One of my favorites.
Yep. So what have you written about on this side?
So I actually went ahead and went through all of this together in my testing. I just wanted to show it off to everybody in case this is something you were interested in. But if I come all the way back up to the top of the chat, I had a very similar prompt to the one we made for the video production, but I had it do it for a D&D session, a Dungeons & Dragons session. So I had it interview me exactly who I'm prepping the session for, who's all playing, what level they are, and even building some of the combat encounters around that. It asked me where they were, and we went all the way through it and talked about this back and forth, and I went through all of the questions with this one, so I did it off screen. And by the end of it, it had a complete session for me that I could bring to my table to play with my friends. So I can find it right here. Here we go. So it gives me a one-page overview of everything that we're going to be doing in that session, a scene ladder, set pieces, NPC roster, rewards, consequences, and failed forward outcomes, and pacing and spotlight map for a 5-hour table. And I couldn't ask for anything else with D&D. And
you pay for that normally.
Yeah, normally.
So you pay for that. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Or you spend hours building this out. So.
Yeah, this saves me, like, I still have some work to do with this, but prepping a session for me can go from 8 hours down to, 45 minutes.
So the same thing would apply to planning your family vacation or any of those kind of things also, right? So this same concept works cross AI platforms. We've done the same thing in Gemini, same thing in Grok. Now, and you can also, in this case, build a super prompt from that, so you're not having to construct all this over and over again also. So we do have some questions this time.
Oh,
First of all, hey Alice, welcome again. Alice has been here every day this week, so thank you for joining us.
I appreciate your support.
Yep, and we do have a question here from C. Cohen. How do you protect your prompts from getting out in the wild? So that's an interesting one. So it depends on the plan you have. I'll take Copilot for example here. With Copilot, you may have noticed, let me kind of hop out here really quick here, just on my screen. You may have noticed there is a little box right there that's saying enterprise grade security. So it's kind of saying, there we go, let me zoom in a little close. Enterprise data protection. So in this case, what Microsoft is telling you, they're hosting everything in your tenant. So your prompts will never leave your tenant. Make sure you see that shield up there when you're doing it. So they're not going to train other models. You're not going to train your competitors with your questions and your data. So that's one of the cool things. It kind of isolates it to your tenant only. And I think GPT has something very similar to that, don't they also?
For the most part. I mean, unfortunately, we have seen ChatGPT have a couple of recent data leaks where a lot of people's prompts were actually exposed and stuff. And that is something to keep in mind. Whenever you're working with an AI tool, it goes out to the world and it could end up in anyone's hands. The only thing I would say you could really do, and it's far beyond the scope of this, would be to run something locally. There's Llama and stuff like that where you can do all these same prompts and stuff, but on your own PC. And that's the only way to really guarantee that it's going to stay with you and keep it there. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have to say about that. But GPT does not have any. I don't know of any similar security things.
Gotcha. They have a corporate plan, I think, side.
I see.
We do have Alice, by the way, is a D&D viewer also, and she wants you to DM her the prompts that you sent. You did that on that one, so that's awesome. We like a fellow nerd. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, hopefully Connor does have. Or sorry, I say Connor. C. Cohen does have the paid version of Copilot, so that will help there also.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, this is our final day for this week. We're going to bring this back again in a future week here also. Thank you all for joining us for the last 4 days. Alice, thank you for joining us the last 4 days especially. We hope to see you in a future live session we'll be doing hopefully in the next few weeks. We're going to the Power Platform Conference next week. We'll be reporting from there, and we'll see you there if you are live as well. You can also find more about us at pragmaticworks.com, and don't forget to subscribe to find out this stuff does change all the time. So do subscribe to us and ring that bell so you'll get immediate notifications when we post something live also. Have a great day.
See ya.